Black Power family, Black Power. Streets watching TV back, you know how we get down, Streets watching TV, coming at you with another dynamic, exclusive video for your mental conception. You know how we get down, we bang on the beats right over here. That's what we do. Hey, if this your first time coming in on this channel, would you please mash up the likes, share the video, and subscribe. With that being said, we're going to get right back off into some of this heat that I'm going to bring tonight. Even though we're talking about a death of a young sister who died in Hopkinton, Massachusetts for no reason at all, we know that the authorities there are hiding the fact that this little sister was murdered by some race soldiers. And they may have been planning her sacrifice days in advance. If you got to read through bullshit, if you got to read through bullshit, you got to read through bullshit to see the real. If you got to read through bullshit, and after you comb through the shit and you can find the real, true indeed story to what really happened, even Ray Charles could see through this. It's transparent what happened. Fam. In Hopkinton, whatever how you say it, Hopkinton, Massachusetts, April 17th, a black teenager was found hanging from a tree by a belt. She had a jogging suit on, but she's hanging from a belt from a tree that can barely hold her weight. How do someone hang themselves? Because the authorities in that county is saying that the little sister murdered herself, despite the fact the day before, April 16th, there was a report that was made to the officers of that county about how the little sister was jumped by her girlfriend's friends. Yes, the little sister was in a lesbian relationship with a white girl, or a Latino, as they say. But they had planned her murder and ahead in advance. Even Ray Charles could see through what really went down. Out of nowhere, her ex-girlfriend or her girlfriend writes her aunt or texts her aunt, rather, shall I say, text her a message that her niece is suicidal. Her niece is Michaela Miller. If you ever heard of this story of what happened in Massachusetts, the little sister is named Michaela Miller. Anyhow, the sister, Michaela Miller, has an altercation with her ex-girlfriend or her girlfriend or whatnot in another apartment complex in which they all, I guess, live, or her friends live, or the friend of the lesbians or whatnot. She goes into one of the apartments to talk to her girlfriend. Her and her girlfriend gets into a physical altercation, and two males and another girl all jump the sister. They all white, so they stick together. They all jump the little sister, sent her home with a bloody mouth, and the police made a report of this. The next day, or that night, or that early in the morning, the little sister was tricked to come out to the wooded area and was hung from a tree. Yes, the law enforcement is hiding this. Was Michaela Miller lynched? Black girl, 16 years old, hanging from a tree a day after being jumped by white teens. Hopkinton, Massachusetts. In days following her death, Michaela's mother, she took to social media accusing law enforcement of hiding the facts. I think it's transparent what's going on in this country. They find a young teen in Missouri in the attic of a racist, and no one is being charged. It's a suicide, even though the young teen is right handed and he was found shot in the left side of his brain, or his head, shall I say. But they never found a gun. And law enforcement went out its way to hide the facts. So that's what's going on with this case. Michaela's mother, Calvina Struthers, told Boston Globe that 5 white teenagers was involved with assaulting her daughter because her daughter got into an altercation with her girlfriend. Then that Saturday, they find the sister hanging from a tree. And they call it a suicide. Call it a suicide. Her ex-girlfriend, days before it happened, wrote the guidance counselor at her high school that her girlfriend may be suicidal. This was planned and orchestrated by white people. White teenagers, and it's being covered up by the law enforcement. By the law enforcement. This is deep. I'm telling y'all, man. The Middlesex District Attorney, Marion Ryan, refused to further investigate this by indicting these teens. Just like the activists say that's fighting with Michaela's mother. I can't think of her name. If the shoe was on the other feet, 4 black teens jumped, and a white female, and then they find the female dead the next day, the next morning. You know what is going to happen. They're going to arrest all of the teens that's black. And another thing, why in this country, maybe this happens around the globe if you're black, if race soldiers or the police kill you, why they always pull up your character or things that you've done in the past? Who's perfect? Who is perfect? Michaela's mother and her got into a spat where the police was called. They brought that up into the equation. What do they got to do with the murder of this young teen? Fam, I'm telling you, white people on code in this country. We the only motherfuckers that look stupid. We not on code. We march for Asians when you know the Asians don't give a fuck about us. What the fuck we marching for Asians for? The Asians don't give a fuck about us. Let the Asians handle their own fucking affairs. We need to tend to our affairs. The Asians don't have no love for black people. Black people live in Asia, get treated like shit. get treated like shit. Asians are up in Africa buying up Africans, selling African spoiled items off the shelf in China. I mean, in Africa, South Africa. China is over there trying to buy up Africa. They got so many people in China, they can annex Africa and bring a bunch of Chinese people to Africa. And the Chinese are at the African woman. Same way they got the white man and other races over here at the black woman. They doing the same thing in Africa. Chinese are disrespecting black women. Telling y'all, fam, we the only people that's not on code with our own. The Chinese is on code. The Arabs is on code. The white Jew is on code. The East Indian is on code. The Puerto Ricans are on code. The Mexicans are on code to stick with their own. Black people, the only people trying to go around the world and love other people's culture, and everybody rob our culture and hate us after they steal our culture. The Mexicans hate us because we are the true Mexicans, the first Mexicans that were in Africa. I mean, in Mexico, we was the Maroons. We fought off all the invaders and kicked the invaders out of Mexico, and the Mexicans want to take credit for that, and they hate the black man to this day. Fam, do y'all think the sister was murdered by these 4 white teens? Do you think this little sister took her own life after being jumped? After being jumped by 4 white teens, and what are 2 males doing putting their hands on a female? See, this is where a male presence should be in. When our little sisters go out, she should have a little brother or cousin, a male, to protect her, chaperone her. We got to do more better than letting our little sisters go out by themselves hanging out with white people. You can't hang out with white people, not by yourself. These people will get you somewhere and lynch you. They more out open with it now. I know y'all saw the story of an Indiana man walking through the woods. Him and his white friend and some white hillbillies was in the woods, put a noose on his neck, was ready to hang him, lynch him. Do y'all remember that? Was that on a holiday? I believe that, if I'm not mistaken, it was on the last year on the 4th of July, if I'm not mistaken. These people never had no love for black people. Black people got to wake up. We the only people not on code. They know we stupid. This shows you that the Ku Klux Klan has infiltrated the police department to a degree where they agree with the murder of our people and refuse to investigate white people who murder our people. You remember when Dylan Roof killed 9 black people in Carolina? Went into that church. They let him into that church. He sat down there quietly. Then he opened up and killed all those people. And when the authorities caught up with him, he told the people he was hungry. They took him to Burger King. The cops literally took this murderer of black people to Burger King. You know why he took him to Burger King? You know, he gave him a reward for doing something that he probably wants to do and probably already done it before. He probably took someone's life. The cops that took Dalen Roof to Burger King, I bet they got a fucked up file. They got a record where they done some fucked up shit to the American citizens. They done something foul to someone. They take him to Burger King. Special treatment. To me, that's special treatment. That shows you what America's all about. Black people, you let your guard down. You don't trust yourself. You move away from yourself. You get all this money. There's nothing wrong with moving to the suburbs. But some of you fools move to the suburbs, rub your shoulders with white people, and forget about where you come from. And then you start to think you're better. You be condescending, looking down on someone from your own race, your own culture. And then you let your hair down, you let your guard down amongst your natural born enemy. See, black people, we're not each other's enemies by nature. Someone made us other than our natural selves. You don't believe that. You do believe if a man or a woman is held captive against their will as a sex slave, you agree that that could be a collateral damage for psychologically, right? So you take a people and put them in a situation where they held captive for 400 years in a land that's not their own and not speaking their language. You take a people and you teach them something other than what they was created to be and do. You teach a people that black is ugly, black is lowly. You teach them that black is docile. You teach black people to hate themselves. You put the light skin against the dark skin. You put the old against the young. You put the female against the male. You create hostility. This is what the devil did. He taught this to our people on a slave plantation. So we can't trust each other. We are a sick people. I agree. But why trust white people who made us hate each other? We just didn't hate each other by nature. Some came and took us by storm and took us up out of our original state and taught us wickedness. Jealousy is the author of murder. William Lynch of 1712, the William Lynch method of controlling the slave is a true method. It's a serious method. It's being used until this very day, and it separated our people. It separated our people. And this is the only way that the black race can be ruled over is keep division among the people. Just like in Africa. Africa outnumbered the white man 11-1. There's no way that the Africans should lose in a war against the white man or the Chinese man. But they know we are divided. And money is a root to evil if it's used in a demonic way. And what I mean by that, white folks take their money and give it to other niggas to mistreat other niggas. And that's what you got going on in Africa with these puppet regimes. Don't you believe that Africa do not have any warriors? They got warriors over there. You'll never see them niggas coming over here. The niggas they let come over here, they tell them niggas before they get them a passport or a visa, they tell them don't associate with blacks in America. They bad for you. And them Negroes that come over here from Africa take heed to that. And that's why you have hostility between Africans and African Americans. But to me, we're all African. No matter where you are born at, you still African. We all one people. That's why we should step to our struggle from a pan-African uh, perspective. Because no matter what your culture is or what you believe in, as long as you black, we have something in common, and that's to get rid of the beast up on the planet. Y'all know street watching TV bang on the beast. So we got to step to the whole situation from an African pan-African a pan-African concept. That's to unite all Africans. Just like Tecumseh from the Shawnee Indian tribe. He wanted to unite all Native Americans, no matter what your culture or what your language. We all had a common goal, or they all had a common goal. They was all Native. They was all Asian and black people. You know, some of the so-called Indians that they call Indians are black people. Yeah, but they don't want to give us our land when we was already here. Some of our black people was already here, but the most of our people came by the slave ship. Some people want to proclaim that they was already here because they hate their African heritage. So everybody wants to be Indian. You know, the government gave white people a way to get land, new land. All they had to do was claim that they was Indian. These are the $5 Indians. You be seeing white people talk about they Indian. You know they ain't. They parents, foreparents claim to be Indian, and that's how some of the Caucasians got free land that black people can't even get. You know what I mean? I don't mean to get off subject. I just want to let y'all know how deep and demonic people that we're dealing with. You know what I'm saying? You're dealing with a fucking reptilian. You're dealing with a motherfucker, a vagabond. You're dealing with a leech that sucks the blood from the poor. And the only way to continue their rule is to keep the strongest gene down. And that's the black man, woman, and child. As long as they keep our population in check, as long as they keep us financially disabled, then the white supremacy continue to rule. Because that's the danger of white supremacy. This is why they work night and day to keep black people at a standstill. And this is why the sister, little bitty sister, 16 years old, was executed. She wasn't executed because she was gay. She was executed because she was black. That's what some of the what they call it, LBGT, whatever, gay, or whatever those letters mean, from the gay community. This is why you cannot think that gay is the thing to fight white supremacy. See, as long as you black, you're going to die. You're going to be oppressed. So, with that being said, gay people, homosexual people, whatever, you got to be black first before you start screaming about homosexuality, because they don't care if you homosexual, straight, long as you are in the skin that you in, you a threat to white supremacy. You a threat to white supremacy. So this little sister, don't even try to blame it on that. She was killed because she was black first. And she didn't even understand what wickedness that she was dealing with, because the parents don't educate. Everybody keeps stuff away from people. Everybody keeps stuff away from people when it comes to stuff like this. That little sister need to have been educated about the dangers of playing with white people. All snakes ain't poisonous, but they all bite. All snakes are not poisonous, but they all bite. So even though a snake is not poisonous, I bet that bite don't feel good, even if it's coming from a garter. It's gonna hurt. So with that being said, all white people ain't bad, but the majority of them are. They evil by nature. They are what they are. You know what I'm saying? I don't hate the white man. I understand the white man. You only hate something that you don't understand. I do hate the evils that they do to our people. I do hate the evils that they do to our people. And we should look back in history and bring it up to its present time and find out that the white man cannot be healed. We always say we don't look back in the past, we think about the future. But if it wasn't for a past, you wouldn't have a present or a future. You feel what I'm saying? So if you look back in the past and see white people's demonic behavior up to its present position right now, you will have to agree to me that this white supremacy behavior of the white man, this ice man that came out the caves of Europe, you know what I'm saying? Came out the caves of Europe some 6,000 years ago and causing havoc up on our planet, you will have to agree with me that this thing is demonic. So this is why in Hopkins, Massachusetts, the police, law enforcement are in cahoots with hiding the facts that this sister was lynched. They just don't want to have this stain on Massachusetts. Anybody know about Boston, Massachusetts? It's one of the racist places in America. It's so racist, Magic Johnson, when he played basketball against the Boston Celtics, he said that the black people that lived in Boston was rooting for the LA Lakers because they had a black starting 5 team, and they said it was real racist in Boston. Could you imagine? You live in Boston as a white man, and the black people are rooting for the opposite team, the Lakers, because the racism is so bad in Massachusetts? Fam, do y'all think the sister was murdered, lynched, with a belt hanging from a tree that really couldn't handle her body size? Some tell me that somebody choked her and hung her up by that belt. This is homicide. This is murder. This is a lynching. Leave comments below. Y'all tell me what y'all think. Leave comments below. Mash up the likes. Share this video. Streets watching. I'm gone.
Now at 6, keeping up the pressure. Michaela Miller's family and supporters taking their fight for justice right to the district attorney. They rallied right outside of one of District Attorney Marion Ryan's offices this afternoon. I'm David Wade.
And I'm Paula Evan in for Lisa Hughes tonight. Now, they disagree with the medical examiner's ruling that Michaela died by suicide, and they want the DA to recuse herself from the investigation. As WBZ's Beth Germano shows us, they do not plan to give up.
Justice for Michaela Miller!
It was a statement loud and clear outside the Lowell office of the Middlesex District Attorney.
Plain and simple, we want justice. We want DA Marion Ryan to recuse herself and to call in the FBI to do a complete and thorough investigation immediately.
Some are calling for DA Marion Ryan to step down from the office altogether, claiming she's mishandled the investigation into the death of Hopkinton teen Michaela Miller. Her mother says she wants truth and accountability.
I appreciate everyone's support. and I'm very grateful that people are continuing to support, my family and finding justice for my daughter.
Miller's body was found on April 18th, hanging from a tree in woods near her home. These protesters refused to accept a medical examiner's conclusion that Miller committed suicide.
She was found in a tree that would not support her body weight. So how is someone going to hang themselves from a tree that doesn't support their body weight, first of all?
And they claim investigators have not been forthcoming about an assault on Miller by several teens the night before she died. The DA says there's no proof any of those teens were near her in the woods, but the protesters say they won't stop until there's an independent investigation, not the DA leading the probe.
You have proof that you cannot function from a place of professionalism and have transparency and accountability when it comes to this family.
Protesters claim they've gathered some 16,000 signatures demanding that the DA resign altogether. She's had no comment on their demands, only saying that this remains an active investigation. In Lowell, I'm Beth Germano, WBZ News.
All right, Beth, thank you. Now, Governor Baker has said the only person who could step in and take over the investigation is the Attorney General. Well, WBZ's John Keller spoke with Maura Healey today, who said she understands the pain, but she did not seem ready to jump in.
I understand this, is that these things do take time, but I know that is happening, and I'll reserve comment until we have that investigation complete and the results and the reports of that investigation public.
So again, at this point, we've heard from the medical examiner, but the district attorney, Marion Ryan, has said that it will likely take several months to complete the entire investigation, Paula.
Well, dozens of people gathered in Hopkinton last night, calling for justice for 16-year-old Michaela Miller. Today, activists say they're one step closer to getting some more answers. A Boston-based group says that it's paying for an independent autopsy, and the DA tried to reassure that community once again that her investigation will be thorough. WBZ's Anna Myler has the story.
My daughter was great.
Michaela Miller's grieving mother opened up to a crowd of hundreds in Hopkinton about her 16-year-old daughter and demanded answers about her death.
I want to make sure that I am clear about my goals in all of this. It's to have full transparency and get justice for my daughter, Michaela.
Officials say on April 17th, Michaela was in a fight with other teenagers. The next morning, her body was found in the woods not far from her home. Michaela's mom says officers told her Michaela had taken her own life.
If they would not have immediately made a conclusion regarding my child's death and did a proper investigation, or did any investigation initially at all, we wouldn't be here.
During a virtual meeting last night, the Hopkinton School Committee held a moment of silence for the vibrant high school sophomore, remembering her as a successful student and athlete who was a friend to many. District Attorney Marian Ryan also addressed members.
From the beginning of this investigation, we have really been committed to determining exactly how Michaela's very promising life came to an end.
Ryan says cell phone technology and witness interviews indicate the teens who had been involved in the altercation were not in the area around the time of Michaela's death. She says dozens of people have been interviewed, electronic devices are being examined, and items have been sent to the State Police Crime Lab. She's promising a thorough and accurate investigation, but says it will take time.
I think the most important thing, and what I would hope that people don't make a mistake about, is that no final conclusions have been reached in this case.
The DA says the medical examiner has not yet made a ruling on Michaela's cause of death. Today, the group Violence in Boston announced they are paying for an independent autopsy. In Hopkinton, Anna Myler, WBZ News.